story problems 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think I'll stop at 3, and then we'll set it up again for 4. Okay? Alright, here we go. If the length of the deck is 4 feet longer than the width, and the square area of the deck is 60 square feet, then what is the length and width?
What?
Okay? So, that's exactly what students say. And that's why we got to figure out how to set this up. Because this is a problem that may end up on the state test.
So can't you just square the area?
Well, first of all, how do you find area?
For the
Length times width. So we know that this is going to be length times width. And that the length times the width is going to equal 60. Right? And so what we need is to set it up so that the length is 4 feet longer than the width. Right? So maybe I want to go width and length. I don't know. But do you have a question? Answer? Yeah. Oh. You already know the answer. Yeah. This one's actually quite easy once you see it, but setting it up can be difficult. So remember, on the state test, they might not have it be nice and neat numbers, so we have to know how to set it up. So the way I'm looking at this is, I want to set up the length as being 4 longer than the width, right? That means if I add 4 to the width, right? If I say that x plus 4, right? If I say that equals w, then that would also equal,
X would equal.
then x would equal the length, right? So I'm saying that this is 4 more than this. Does that make sense? Okay? And then we're saying that the length times the width, that means x plus 4 times x is going to equal 60. Does that make sense? Okay? So then, x squared plus 4x is equal to 60, right? Then we're going to pull over that 60. Okay? So x squared plus 4x minus 60 is equal to 0, right? And then what are we going to do? Whenever we have 3 pieces, we factor, right? So Malia, what do we do next?
I'm not positive.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier if you were facing or using the mirror. Or using the mirror. There you go. So what goes into each one?
Allison wants it to the middle school office. Allison wants it to the middle school office.
Alright. Then what? What are the signs?
Plus.
Plus?
And that means they're different.
That means they're different. So minus. Okay. And what's the product and sum? 60 and 4. And we're subtracting or adding in the sum? Subtracting. So 2 things that multiply to be 60 but subtract to be 4. 10 and 6.
Good job.
So which one goes first? 10.
We know.
Okay. Oops. Am I recording, hopefully? This is going good.
Goodness, Dan.
Hey, yeah. Alright. Then what?
Yeah.
It's almost the answer. Technically it is. Yeah, I see where you're going with it. But then what we would do is solve each one. Right? And we would say that x plus 10 would equal 0. And x minus 6 is equal to 0. That means x is equal to negative 10 and x is equal to 6. Now, can you have a negative side? No. So that means we're not going to use x is equal to negative 10. Because we can't have negative sides, right?
Yeah.
So the only side we have is x is 6. So that means that the length is 6, right? Which means that the width is...
Okay. Maybe it's just how you...
Oh, I said this the wrong way, didn't I?
You put length in the wrong place, and width in the wrong place.
Yes. So notice how this should actually be x plus 4. And this should actually be x, right? Because the way we want the length is to be 6 plus 4. And the way we want the width is just to be 6.
So you did the right work, it's just in the wrong spot.
Exactly. Okay? And that's good to know. Because it seemed to make sense when we wrote it, right?
Yeah.
But then it didn't make sense when we found out the answer. So adjust it. That's okay. Adjust it. So what happens here is we're saying, okay, the width is x. But the length is 4 more than that. That makes sense now, right? 4 more than the width. That's why it's x. The length is x plus 4. Okay? Same stuff. Okay? So now we know the length and the width. Now they want to know, can you stain it with 1 gallon? No.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, we didn't have to do any math for that. Why not?
Yeah.
Because there's not enough stain. It's 60 square feet. They told us it's 60 square feet. They told us it only will do 50. So you need more than 1 gallon, right? Okay? So that one was pretty easy, right? Obviously, the one on the state test might not be that easy. Maybe they give you no new dimensions. And then they ask you, can you stain with 1 gallon? Does that make sense? And then you got to figure out, well, how many square feet is it? Does that make more sense? Right? Okay. But in this case, that was easy. Now, number 3. What does this say? 3 is saying, if I increase the length and the width by 2 feet, that means my length and width, right, is 6 and 10, right? So we increase the length and width by 2 feet each way, right? Then what's that going to make it? So, in other words, we're making this new rectangle that's basically 8 and 12, right? So we're making a bigger deck. And then they're saying, well, hey, will you have enough stain, right, to do it with 2 gallons? So how many does 2 gallons do? 2 gallons, since they do 50 each, right, is going to do 100 square feet, right? Okay? So we need to know, is that 100 square feet or not? So it's just 8 times 12, which is 96. So, do we have enough? Yes. So that wasn't too bad, right? So this one is yes. Because 8 times 12 is 96. And 2 gallons will do 100.
The answer is what?
Okay? Is that good?
Is it yes or no?
You just said it's
Just can you
yes.
say the word?
Yes.
It says yes or no.